Carlos freaking Alcaraz has done it. Beats Djokovic for the second year in a row in the Wimbledon final in 3 sets this time. And there's just not enough amazing things to say about this kid. He is big time. He finds his best tennis in the biggest moments. It was a very weird match. It was not the match that I think a lot of us were hoping for as far as an epic. Djokovic didn't have the level in the first 2 sets, and Alcaraz absolutely pounced on him early and just really got him up against the ropes. But did get interesting in that third set. Alcaraz squandered 3 championship points, actually 4 in total, and Djokovic almost started making people think he was having a comeback. But Alcaraz slams the door. We're going to break it down, what happened in this match, what it means for the history of tennis, what it means for Alcaraz. We're going to get all into it. This is The Slice presented by Betway. Thanks for being here. Let's get going. Oh my gosh, there's just so much to talk about there. The match, the records that Alcaraz now has, or the record that he has in majors and against Djokovic and all this, it's just nuts. 21 years old. I said it on Twitter. I really think we've never seen anyone like him as a 21-year-old. Winning on all surfaces. 2 Wimbledons now, 1 French Open, 1 US Open. Unreal. If you're new here, welcome to The Slice. I'm Stephen Boughton. I'm your host, and I would love it if you subscribed because we are trying to get to 20,000 subscribers, and you would help us out in doing that. We just had a great live stream with our podcast co-host, JP Hovey, and a few special guests, so you can go watch the recording of that. We watched it all live, and it was a match. It went in a way how I expected, because if you watch a previous video to this, I called it. I predicted Alcaraz in 4. He gets it done in 3. And a quick word for the haters. If you thought I was just a Djokovic hater because I picked Alcaraz to win, you're out to lunch. Literally last year at the Wimbledon final, I predicted Djokovic to win and Alcaraz won. So I picked Djokovic or Alcaraz this year because of logical reasoning, and he won because he played the way I thought he would, and he was too much for Djokovic like I thought he was going to be. So put some respect on the Slice name. We know what we're talking about. We're now 8 for 10 as far as videos. When I make a video saying this guy will beat this guy to win this, 8 out of 10 have been right. The only times we've not gotten it right was the 2023 Wimbledon final when I bet on, sorry, that was wrong earlier when I said that about Djokovic letting me down. The only times I've lost is when I've bet against Djokovic. So I thought that, I picked Djokovic to win last year's Wimbledon. I lost that one, and I picked Djokovic to win the 2022 Roland Garros quarterfinal, and Nadal got it done. Anyways, enough of that. This match was, set up to be another epic like last year. That's what we thought it was going to be. But I did think my prediction at the beginning was that Alcaraz has been tested in this tournament. Alcaraz has played at a much higher level throughout all 2024 than Djokovic has. Djokovic had a very easy route to the final at Wimbledon this year, and I believe has not beaten a top 10 player all year. So if you're thinking about it, he doesn't have the level from this whole season or at this tournament, and his knee has been compromised. And I said that his movement was compromised because of it. And that was true. That was true. So if we're going to just look at the stats first, let's go through that. The match goes 6-2, 6-2, 7-6. The first 2 sets were a write-off. Total Alcaraz domination. In the match, though, in general, Djokovic's serve got much better in the third set, and we'll look at that. He got 70% of his first serves in, but only won 66% of those first serve points, and only 40% of his second serve points. Alcaraz was all over the Novak Djokovic second serve. Another crazy stat is net points won. Djokovic came to net 53 times, a lot not on his own accord, and only won 51% of those, whereas Alcaraz won 73% of his net points, essentially because he came to the net almost every time on his own. There's a few Djokovic drop shots, But in general, Djokovic was trying to go big and rush Alcaraz and get on him because he needed to do that. That's what I said. But the real story here is Alcaraz. 42 winners, only 24 unforced errors compared to 26 and 25 for Djokovic. 42 winners and only 24 unforced errors. The crazy thing is, how at 21 years old are you able to go for so much, play so aggressive, and play great and not spray the ball at all? He pretty much played a flawless match until the 4-5 game in the third set where he was trying to serve it out. Got a little tight there, got a little interrupted by the fans, but made up for it. Like, that is the craziest thing about Alcaraz for me is how he finds his best tennis in the biggest moments. And that's just getting more and more and more reinforced. Anyways, that's a lot of winners to a few unforced errors. Let's break this down set by set with the stats. Set 1, Djokovic attacking more, 30% to 23 for Djokovic. First serve in, won by Alcaraz. But the problem here for Djokovic was he wasn't getting any purchase. He was attacking more, and it wasn't helping him. He only won 55% of his first serve points, which is shocking. 50% of his second serve points. Only won 4 out of his 12 net points. So he would come forward, he would get passed. Alcaraz would drop shot him. He would have to come forward, and he would get passed, or he would miss the volleys. He missed a lot of volleys that he normally would make, and he was pressing and going for a lot with his attacking tennis and missing like he normally wouldn't do. So that's from the start of the match. You felt like Alcaraz was playing his game and Djokovic was playing outside of his game. And the first game of the match was pretty much like a punch in the mouth. Like, Djokovic serving, super long service game, couldn't get anything done. He was pressing, was missing. Alcaraz was there just playing defense essentially. And then Alcaraz gets the break in the first game. It's kind of like we had Landry on the live streams. He's an MMA fighter. It's kind of like getting bopped in the nose right away in the fight. Like, you're just reeling all of a sudden. And that's what it felt like Djokovic was doing. So Carlos comes out, plays great tennis, 12 winners, 8 unforced errors in the first set, won all of his net points, broke twice. Djokovic did have a break point at one point, but Alcaraz quickly got it, put it away. So that first set was 6-2. And you're like, okay, where's this going from here? Was that just a quick set? Is Djokovic going to be able to find his energy, find his level? And that was not to be the case. The second set, it continues in a very similar way. Djokovic gets a lot of first serves in, but he's not winning points behind them. He only won 60% of his first serve points, whereas Alcaraz won 86%. In the first 2 sets, Alcaraz only lost 4 points on his first serve in the first 2 sets. So it was like complete domination. He only lost 1 point at net. Djokovic was less than 50% at net. And Alcaraz breaks twice again in the second set. 7 winners, 5 unforced errors. Crazy. Just crazy level. Great level from Alcaraz to not let Djokovic get off the mat, essentially. And then Djokovic going into the third set really started to press. What he did do was start to press better. Sorry, the stats aren't on the screen. Djokovic started to play better. He started to serve better. 3 aces, 77% of the first serves in. And in the third set, he ended up winning 76% of his first serve points, which is better, which is, where he needed it to be all match long. But Alcaraz still won 80% of his first serves, was serving well and then following up his serve extremely well. Net points won. Still, Djokovic came to the net a lot then, only won 58% of those. Alcaraz, 8 for 13. Break points won. Alcaraz got 1 break. So did Djokovic. We're going to talk about that. But this is where it gets crazy. As Djokovic pressed Alcaraz, as Djokovic started to play better, you would assume that Alcaraz would get tight and play worse. But he didn't. That's not what happened. If you look at it, he hit 23 winners to 11 unforced errors in the third set. It's like rising to the occasion in the most incredible way. Djokovic played better, served better, started turning the screws, bringing the heat, and Alcaraz just responded with getting even better. So I just don't know what else to say. So Alcaraz has broken, now is then serving for the match 4-5. Double fault. I thought, from last year where he got basically all first serves in that final game, I wondered if it would be the same. Alcaraz double faults, and then I believe he hits an unforced error after that. Then it's 30-40. And then Alcaraz was going out wide, hit a good out wide serve, and there was like a floating return coming back. And Alcaraz goes to hit a swinging volley, and someone from the crowd literally goes, "Ah!" like screams as he's about to hit it, and he pushes it about 2 inches wide. Deuce. Djokovic goes on and ends up breaking. And you're thinking, oh my gosh, Djokovic is back. But when Djokovic gave that fist pump, to me, it wasn't like, I'm back, I'm winning this in 5. It was like, come on, Djokovic. Come on, Noli. He was trying to will himself back. And I'm sure all you Djokovic fans were there with him, trying to will him back into it. But you could just feel he started to play better there, but he just still didn't have what he needed to have to win this. Gets to the tiebreaker, and then Alcaraz plays a little more solid in the tiebreaker. There was a point that Djokovic went for the winner, a shot up the line, pressed it wide. That was not a wise time to do that. It gave Alcaraz the mini break, which he ended up keeping and getting it done. So, yeah, what a match! What a circumstance! Alcaraz really kind of destroys Djokovic in this match in the first 2 sets. Djokovic didn't have the level. And for the story, you got to wonder why. You got to wonder, but you don't really also. He's 37 years old. He's won everything there is to win in tennis. And you have Carlos Alcaraz, who could go down, like I was saying on the stream, if he's already in the top 10 greatest tennis players of all time in my books, like right there. If he got hit by a bus tomorrow, his career would be like better than many, many, many people in the tennis Hall of Fame. And he's 21 years old. So Djokovic has done everything. There is eventually going to be a lack of motivation, which this is obviously not it. He doesn't lose motivation, or he has, I think, in general, after getting to 24. But when you're in a final versus a guy like Alcaraz, there's no lack of motivation there to win. But he is 37 years old, and he has slowed down, and his knee is not helping. And Alcaraz is fully pumped up, fully confident. And that's just leans in Alcaraz's favor, which is why I predicted him to win. This was not Alcaraz's first time in a major final. He'd already won 3. He won the last one in the French Open. This is not his first time facing Djokovic in a major final, or beating Djokovic in a major final, or beating Djokovic in a Wimbledon final. He did that last year. So there was nothing about this final that was like new territory for Alcaraz. And that's why I didn't think the nerves would get to him, and they didn't. And I thought there maybe would be a case because maybe he felt like he should win, so he might feel nervous then. But he's just way too confident. Alcaraz is way too sure of himself. He's absolutely a freak when it comes to the way he plays. At 21 years old, the way he could just, every time that Djokovic was pressing and playing good shots, Alcaraz could just come up with what was needed, flicking it down the line, lobbing, hitting crazy volleys, hitting drop shots. Just absolutely nuts. So yeah, the records. Alcaraz now 4-0 in major finals. He's won all 4 of his first 4 majors. The only one of the big 3-4 to do that is Federer, who won his first 4 major finals as well. Alcaraz is the first player to win his first 2 Wimbledons back-to-back since Federer. It's kind of an obscure stat, but I honestly think grass could end up being Alcaraz's best surface. It's absolutely nuts how well he moves on it, how well his creativity is kind of rewarded. He just looks so natural on there. 4 majors. He's 21 years old. What else is there to say? I think, I'm sorry to say this, Italian fans, but I think watching these matches, he might not be number 1 in the books for now, but I think it's pretty clear that Alcaraz is the number 1 player in the world right now. He's the man to beat. When he's playing his best, he's the man to beat. What else can you say? I'd love to see Sinner come and prove us wrong at the U.S. Open, in the U.S. Open hardcourt swing. But for right now, Alcaraz is on top of the tennis world. And if I understand if you're a Djokovic fan, this hurts for sure. It's like you're seeing your man not be able to do what he used to do. And I know what that feels like. I'm a Federer fan, or I was a Federer fan. And if we all go back to 2019, when Djokovic ripped that Wimbledon title away from Federer, which was really Federer's last chance to get a title, another major, that was super painful for Federer fans. I think you can now feel how Federer fans felt Djokovic fans. And you even have it better. Djokovic has all the records. He has 24 majors. He has the most weeks at number one, but it still hurts. But there should be no shame in this. And, most of everyone is respectful, but there's so many people who are trashing Federer when he lost that. Oh, he choked. He's washed up. He can never beat Djokovic. He was 39 years old. Djokovic was like 32, basically still in his prime. Djokovic is 37 now, playing a 21-year-old. So any argument that you want to make why Federer and all these older guys, losing to these younger guys was indicative of how great they were as tennis players is ridiculous. Djokovic losing this match doesn't affect his status in the history books of tennis at all. He was always going to eventually lose. And if there's any player that he was going to do it to, Carlos Alcaraz, potentially the best 21-year-old tennis player of all time, could do it. So there's no shame in defeat for Nole fan. There's no shame in defeat for Djokovic, but it is a changing of the guard by all accounts. Last year, one off. Djokovic is like, let's see. It's not a full changing of the guard. I think this year in 3 sets, in a pretty destructive win for Alcaraz over Djokovic, the guard has changed. Alcaraz is the top dog, and Djokovic is no longer the favorite coming into majors going forward. He doesn't have more experience than other guys. Right now, Alcaraz has the most experience of just only winning when it gets to the final of majors. So we'll see where this goes. We'll see how this plays out. But this was an absolutely incredible performance from Alcaraz. Couldn't talk more highly of it. Disappointing from Djokovic for sure. So he's going to go to the Olympics and try and win gold for Serbia. And we'll see. Maybe he retires after that. I don't know where he goes from here. But we were lucky today to watch another episode of 2 of the greatest tennis players of all time going at it. One's 37 and has the most majors of all time. One's 21 and has 4 out of 4. And we can only guess where he's going to go from now, but we know it's going to be incredible. Anyways, that's a recap. That's an analysis. That's a reaction of Carlos Alcaraz winning Wimbledon over Djokovic again for his 4th major, 2nd Wimbledon. Absolutely incredible. Leave your thoughts below. And if you were calling me a wanker or calling me any names for predicting this, your apology will be accepted below in the comments section. We'll see you there.